Everyone, and their Albanian crack dealer, loves Demon Slayer. And for good reason. It's a great show. However, if you're anything like me, there's one character who grates on the nerves something fierce. Zenitsu Agatsuma, the world's most cowardly narcoleptic. Butchering the blonde boyo's name aside, I find this character aggravating due to how often his gimmick is forced upon the audience. After the third or fourth time he breaks down into an uncontrollable fit of crying, I just want to reach through my computer screen, grab Zenitsu's sword, and fucking stab myself. I'd rather go out quickly than get beaten to death by a joke I already know the punchline to. Having said that though, the character isn't all that bad. At least for me. He's just the weakest link in a show that's otherwise exceptional. Lofty thing to claim, I know, but nothing seriously comes to mind that I can rag on, other than the more predictable nature of the plots and characters, but this can be a boon all things considered. It can indicate that the show is tightly written, something it has been so far. In fact, the characterization and development of the cast has been pretty on point. Though Zenitsu is still a coward, he has shown to be less of one as the series progresses. In his first actual on-screen fight, he refuses to stand his ground outright. In his second, however, he tries to dig deep and find his courage. Though he fails to do so and still falls unconscious, the attempt indicates a positive change in the character. What I'm getting at here is that Zenitsu's arc is rather predictable and straightforward, at least as of right now. He's a coward that's becoming courageous. He's literally the cowardly lion from The Wizard of Oz. Now, this arc, when paired with his one-and-done thunderclap and flash technique of the Thunder style, sets Zenitsu up to be one of the biggest badasses in all of anime. Not manga, but anime specifically. Hello everyone, I'm a crack dealer, and welcome to Why Zenitsu Will Become Anime's Biggest Chad. A lot of characters in anime flex, be it with displays of overwhelming power, feats of impressive skill, or demonstrations of irresistible charm. Though these flexes make one wish they were the character in question more times than not, said flexes cannot compare to the big dick energy of characters in an American Western. Pretty abrupt change of pace, I know, but bear with me, I have a point. What separates the flexing anime characters from dick-swinging Western ones is this simple fact. The characters in Westerns are just normal people. They don't have insane superpowers, nor can they shrug off being thrown through a mountain. If they get shot in the right place, it's all over. Now, I exaggerate slightly. Not every anime is a superpowered battle series. I know that. However, scenes like this, which is from my favorite Western, For a Few Dollars More by Sergio Leone, captures a sense of tension a lot of anime just can't. Though there are exceptions like Cowboy Bebop, which comes to mind. Manko, Clint Eastwood, and Mortimer, Lee Van Cleef, are two bounty hunters going after the same target. Both bounty hunters want the other gone, and proceed to size each other up as they try to outflex and intimidate one another. What makes this scene tense, simply put, is the fact that we as an audience know both Manko and Mortimer are dangerous men. One could quickly kill the other if he so chose by slightly changing where the pistol was being aimed. Both are skilled with a gun, however, one shot is all it takes to do them in. Unlike a lot of anime, flexing on another character brings serious risks in a Western, which is why it takes serious big dick energy to do so. Zenitsu, when compared to the rest of the cast, is the most underpowered. At least, that's what I've gathered, and in turn, most human. He isn't an enduring badass like Tanjiro, nor is he a wild murder man good boy like Inosuke. He's just a guy, plain and simple, and a cowardly one at that. When Zenitsu steps up to the plate and fights, he has a much higher risk than everyone else of getting killed. His skills are underdeveloped, and the only technique he has to level the playing field can only be used a few times, at least as far as we've been shown. This means that Zenitsu's fights, when taken seriously, have more tension behind them. Zenitsu displays big dick energy when he stands his ground because, unlike the rest of the cast, if he makes a single mistake, he's done for, just like Manko and Mortimer from A Few Dollars More. Now, big dick energy alone does not make characters in Westerns chads. The same holds true for Zenitsu. What elevates them to this status, however, is the situations they find themselves in and how said situations are portrayed on screen. This is the reason why I say Zenitsu will become anime's biggest chad, and not manga's. Film, and in turn animation, has several things going for it which other mediums do not. Though manga has visuals, it doesn't have motion, sound, or music. Three things which Demon Slayer and Westerns both use to great effect. Now, this is not to say that anime is better than manga, or that film is better than books. Not at all. However, different mediums allow for different effects, even if the given situation is the same. By playing to anime's strengths, Demon Slayer can turn Zenitsu's badass manga moments into something incomprehensibly epic and chad-like. To illustrate the point I'm trying to get across, I want to examine the lead-up and ultimate payoff to the greatest duel in a Western, at least in my opinion. It's my favorite. That duel being the final showdown between Colonel Mortimer and the bandit El Indio from For a Few Dollars More. Spoiler warning for a classic film I recommend all of you should watch. In the film, Indio, the bandit, has this pocket watch that he obsesses over. It plays this tune on a set of chimes that deeply moves the cold-blooded killer, causing him to reminisce on a particular moment in time. This moment involves a young woman and a young man sitting on a bed beside one another while fiddling with a pocket watch as a young Indio watches in secret. Eventually, Indio breaks into the room, kills the young man, at least I think, and begins raping the young woman. However, much to Indio's horror, the young woman kills herself. This leads to Indio stealing the pocket watch the couple were messing with, as he slowly becomes obsessed over this one moment in time. Going along with that, periodically throughout the film, we hear the soundtrack play the chimes of the watch at relevant moments. This includes duels Indio partakes in. Essentially, Indio sets up a few duels with a simple rule. When the watch chimes stop, we draw. Skipping to what's relevant for us, Indio has just disarmed Mortimer and uttered one of the best pre-duel lines of all time.
When the chimes end, pick up your gun. Try and shoot me, Colonel. Just try.
Something I want to know about that line. Before the chimes begin playing, there is no music. The film has the restraint to treat this scene with respect and just has the wind softly blowing in the background. It sets up a quiet and somber mood which keeps the audience's attention fixed to the focus of the scene, the characters. This is something Demon Slayer does a lot and often to great effect. A good example of this is in the first episode, right before Tanjiro and Giyu, I hope that's how you say the name, throw down. Instead of trying to artificially add tension with over-the-top music as the two characters argue, the anime lets the actors stretch their thespian chops and allows tension to build gradually via their performances as the winter winds blow softly in the background. I do want to state the show does this a lot, using simple and quiet, though effective, sound design to set a scene's tone while adding atmosphere. But then, for both Demon Slayer and For a Few Dollars More, music is introduced to the scene, indicating the start of the duel's next stage, both of which give insight into the character's headspace. For Demon Slayer, the music is non-diegetic, doesn't come from the setting's world, and lets us know that Giyu is sincerely trying to help Tanjiro out in his own way. Since the track isn't threatening, we know the swordsman isn't doing what he's doing out of malice. For a Few Dollars More, that's a mouthful, the music is diegetic, from the setting's world, and is being played from the pocket watch. Once more, we get into the character's headspace as they react to the music without saying a word. By his subtle actions, such as looking at the watch and not his opponent, we can tell that Indio feels confident about the situation he's in. He feels in control and believes he can still get the drop on his opponent due to thinking he's the only one who knows when the song ends. Mortimer, on the other hand, seems to be visibly, though subtly, distraught. There's more to the given situation than the hopeless position the Colonel is in. However, as the chimes draw to an end, indicated by Indio going for his gun, the chimes start once again, but this time from a different watch, which catches the bandit completely by surprise. Mortimer, realizing something is wrong, reaches into his vest and pulls out a pocket watch chain, which is missing said pocket watch, an item which is brought up once earlier in the film and has no real importance placed upon it. The film's soundtrack then resets and escalates as Monko, Clint Eastwood, steps into frame. From here, Monko ensures that Indio plays by the rules he established, as he hands Mortimer his pistol while the music swells, indicating the duel's final stage. The tables have turned. Indio has lost all of his advantages and is now losing his composure as a tear slowly falls from his eye. Mortimer, on the other hand, stares at his opponent, focusing on the task at hand, as the audience and Indio both connect the dots on the Colonel's identity. Then, as the music drops, the pair draw. Indio falls as Mortimer stands triumphant. This scene on paper is well written. It has a lot of subtle reincorporation that turns a tale of two bounty hunters trying to nab a big score into a romantic tale of honor and vengeance. Bearing that in mind, this well-written piece is transformed into something truly special when elements unique to film are incorporated. The use of sound, or lack thereof in the beginning, followed by the chimes from the watch and the actors' subtle reactions to it, as well as the finale, where Monko shakes things up, is something a book cannot achieve. It can do something similar, but the effect will not be the same, since a lot of it is reliant upon sound. Demon Slayer achieves something similar. As Gyo stabs Nezuko, the softer music drops and fades into something more panicked and intense. Tanjiro runs for his ass. Tanjiro runs for his axe and weaves through the trees. However, the motion associated with said weaving makes the clever quote-unquote camera angles that keep said axe out of frame unnoticeable. This trick done to the audience to conceal a later reveal feels natural, since it follows the flow of movement and doesn't feel awkward. Then, Giyu knocks Tanjiro out. However, as the camera lingers, Giyu and the audience both come to a sudden realization. The axe that was hidden is gone. Though the swordsman is able to avoid the hatchet that is hurtling towards his head, the character is just as surprised as the audience. The music then shifts once more as Giyu realizes what the hell Tanjiro just tried to pull, leading to Nezuko breaking free as she protects her brother. The music then drops, leaving nothing but Nezuko's demon noises and the sound of blowing wind. This gives Giyu, and in turn the audience, time for quiet contemplation, leading to him taking a risk and knocking Nezuko out, ending the scene. Within the first episode, Demon Slayer establishes its pretty great direction and uses to full effect the advantages anime has over manga, namely sound, or lack thereof, music, and motion, to create a first episode that instantly grabs the attention of most of the viewing public, and this is without getting into the swordsmanship techniques, which just look so goddamn cool every time they're used, regardless of what technique it is. The direction, when applied to Zenitsu's fighting style, is why I say the cowardly blonde boyo will become anime's biggest chad. For all intents and purposes, Thunderclap and Flash, especially when paired with Zenitsu's overall underpowered nature, makes him little different from a Western gunslinger. Zenitsu demonstrates some true big dick energy when squaring off against demons because, just like Mortimer, he only has one draw. If he's too slow or makes a mistake, he's done. I haven't read Demon Slayer yet. However, I'd wager Zenitsu won't bring down as many mainline big bads as Tanjiro or be a murder machine like in Yusuke. However, assuming of course he gains the courage to stand his ground, which I think is a fair assumption, the fights he does have will be among the series' absolute best, and will play out in a similar vein to the duel from A Few Dollars More, where the series' excellent direction makes an already tightly well-written scene something absolutely amazing. Simply put, watch the duel I've gone on at length about and imagine Mortimer as Zenitsu, and Yusuke or Tanjiro as Monko, and a demon as Indio. Then imagine the watch, which the music of this scene stems from, used to belong to a side character Zenitsu grew fond of, possibly a girl who was receptive to his clumsy advances, which the demon he's squaring off against killed. If you do this, you get a rough idea of what I'm getting at. Though, admittedly, this example doesn't factor in the use of movement or the badass stylized animation of the show's sword techniques, which would naturally be present. But having said that, guys, I've been Bufara191. I really just wanted an excuse to talk about Demon Slayer. It's kind of hard to find something, because a lot of people have said what's, well, already need to be said. It's just a fun show. But that said, I've been Boo. I'll see you next time. Tell me what you thought in the comments down below. Goodbye.